Great moments are born from great opportunity.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Average Jones wins in a shocking upset.
I feel shocked.
You suck compared to me.
So you guys are two prep school white guys with the podcast.
We are underdogs.
They stay ready so you don't have to get ready.
I mean, I haven't even told anybody this. This is kind of crazy.
Robinson for three. Bang.
Hello and welcome to the Long Shot Podcast. I'm your host, Duncan Robinson. That's right, Duncan Robinson. Small forward for the Miami Heat. Joined as always, I'm with my guy, Davis Reed. What's up, homie?
What's going on, Duncan / Jamel? What's happening? That was great, honestly.
Thanks, dude.
That was
man,
really good.
I have been practicing that for days.
I can tell, honestly. It's like I have no acting experience, but it's the, pre-interview, going through your resume in front of the mirror, rehearsing it until you got something that sounds right. I now do this with the podcast too, by the way. You want it to sound natural, but I'm trying to break it, the rehearsal thing, because, again, we were talking about this. Duncan brings in the episode, which is why I wanted you to do it, and you crushed it, by the way.
Thanks again.
That's something you can rehearse because you're in charge. You're running the reins. You have the reins. You're bringing in the episode. But then it's free firing from there. So past that point, it's hard to have anything.
Calamity, bedlam.
Yeah, bedlam. It becomes bedlam. Yeah. Well, whatever. Anyway,
we're here now.
Yeah, we are, and I'm honored to have you. Thank you so much for joining. I see you're rocking the DC hat. You're a DC guy, right?
I am a DC guy. I am a Southeast Conference. I'm a Southeast Division guy, and I just wanted to rep the division. We have a division representative in the East Finals. I'm so proud of my guys down south.
It's actually a question I had for you. Is I hate to break this to you, but the Wizards are not still playing basketball.
No, they haven't been for some time now.
So do you have are you repping the Southeast? Are you rolling with the Heat, or do you have a favorite at this point of the 4 teams remaining?
My favorite team is Duncan Robinson's team. I'm on the Duncan Robinson podcast. Nah. Honestly, bro, I'm not gonna come here and act like I'm on some other. I like Boston, daggone it. I do.
Oh my God, that's the wrong answer. Any of the other 3 would have been acceptable.
I know. No, you know what? I like the Mavs. I picked the Mavs to make the West Final last fall, and I think Boston, Miami might be one of the best playoff series we ever watched. That's what I think.
Whoa.
I
hope that's true. I can tell. It felt genuine. When you tried to play it off like you were rooting for the Heat, it didn't feel genuine. But
I can't. The Heat have done nothing but destroy my life. I'm a Wizards fan, and you know how many games I've watched Duncan Robinson put us in the dirt? Handfuls.
Yeah.
Now I'm on the men's podcast, and I gotta be like, oh, go Heat! Pat Riley's my man. You guys make me cry.
For the record, my job on this show and what works best by far with the audience, I think, is trashing Duncan, actually. So don't feel like you need to come, kiss his feet on the podcast. That's not
man.
what this is
and
about.
I'm from Virginia. You think I got into UVA? No. You think I got into UVA? You think I finished Northern Virginia Community College? No.
Yeah, but was it necessary? Like, look where you are now.
Hey, you know what? Today's dreams is tomorrow's reality, and I appreciate you saying that, brother. We are here together.
100%. I will say the college degree, I think, is becoming less and less valuable. So look at you. You're thriving with dropping. Was it a JUCO drop route or a community college dropout?
I don't know how long you have to be in community college to technically say you dropped out. I don't even know if I dropped in, but I was there. I was there for an amount of time.
Got it. Well, we'll keep it discreet. That's all the people need to know.
Thanks,
you
brother.
were there at some point.
I appreciate you, dog.
Of course. All right. So you had a beautiful one-liner. I already forgot it, but yesterday's something about
today's
dreams,
tomorrow's reality. That's the Northern Virginia Community College slogan.
Oh, how beautiful.
That was in their
Wow.
old ads. Yeah, they had a jingle.
Maybe you should have stayed because you could have learned more stuff like that.
You know what? As I was saying it, I was like, "Dag, man, I should, gotta learn to live with regrets."
It's a beautiful tangent, actually, because here's what I want to do today. You talked about tomorrow's reality. I want to, in honor of the new Marvel movie, the Multiverse movie, which I haven't seen. Have you seen the movie?
No, I haven't, but I've seen all the rest of them joints. I watched Spider-Man on the plane
Okay.
a couple weeks ago, so I'm caught up, and this is the last little piece. I've been waiting. I like to wait until everybody stops talking about it on the internet, then I go see it.
I get that. I understand that. I sort of feel that way with when new albums come out. You know how everyone does like the first reactions now? I will admit that I find those very intriguing. I'll dial up some first reaction videos on YouTube, which is a little, we're getting to a weird place as a society when we're watching other people react to things, but I get caught up in that. But I try to stay away until I've had time to enjoy the music myself. I don't want their opinions swaying mine. It sounds like maybe you're in the same boat with the movie.
Well, 100%, man. Honestly, and I'm the same way with the albums. Like, I just listened to that U2 album. Remember when they put that U2 album in our phones?
Yeah, like 8 years ago.
I just threw that joint on the other day. It was all right.
That was one of those things that just made you angry for no reason. It was like, I have nothing against U2, but now that you're telling me they have to be in my phone, I hate them.
Big mistake. Big mistake. But I don't know what Bono was up to when he thought of that one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got to have some serious leverage. Anyway, let me try to bring this train back on the rails. Neither of us have seen the Multiverse movie, so I cannot. I'm going to guess that it's about alternate realities, but I'm going out on a small limb there. It's got multiverse in the title. Point being, this episode's going to be dedicated to that movie, assuming that it's about alternate realities. Because what I want to do with you, Jamel, is we're down to the final 4 teams in the NBA playoffs. I want to explore an alternate reality in which each of these teams wins a championship. So 4 different realities. And just think about what that would take for that to happen for each team. What's it going to take for a team to win a championship? And what would it look like in the NBA? What would it do to the NBA landscape? What would it look like? What would happen in the world if each of these teams won a championship? Is that cool? Does that make sense?
That's very cool to me. I like this. I like this prompt.
Okay. Love it. Love it. And it's pretty open. I'm not really sure exactly what this is going to look like, but let's just dive into it. We'll go in an order that's has no rhyme or reason. We'll start with the Miami Heat, which this is a Duncan Robinson podcast. Most people that listen to this podcast are Duncan/Heat fans. So I think other pro-Heat, other podcasts might save the Heat for last, making you stick around for the content, the juicy content you really want. We're not about that here. We're going to dive straight into it. We're going to give you what you want right off the bat.
What you want. Yeah, I mean, dessert first.
Dessert first. Yeah, dessert first. Okay. So the Miami Heat, if they win a championship, it would be their 4th in franchise history. They won in 06, 2012, 2013, the LeBron years.
Yes.
So this would be their 4th. I have admitted many times, Jamel, and I'm not going to hide from it once again, I'm pretty biased when it comes to talking about the Miami Heat. I have close ties to a certain member on the team. So it's hard for me to take a step back and talk about them completely objectively. So I would love for you to just give me, what do you think it would, just broadly, what do you think it would take for the Miami Heat to win a championship? Like, who do they need? What does it need to look like? How do they get it done? How do they get past the Celtics and then past whoever comes out of the West?
Well, generally, I would say this for all 4 teams off top. Making your threes, that's for everybody.
Yes.
And solid role playing. I think every team needs their role guys to step up in these moments. Come on, man. Paxson hit the shot. These are the things that we all know about the big games. Stars are going to get guarded as hard as possible.
Yes.
For the Heat in particular, I would say wing defense. I think it's about stopping Jaylen Brown. because Tatum's going to get his, and you know that's just everything it's a make or miss league, and Tatum is going to get his. But if you stop Jaylen Brown, the balance is way off. I think Bam Adebayo's got to have a big series because I think he can take advantage of this matchup with a young guy who, Robert Williams is good, but I think Bam, Bam's Bam. He's got some stuff for him.
Yeah.
He's got some tricks up his sleeve for sure. And you know what you're getting from Jimmy? He might shoot. He might not. We don't know what Jimmy's going to shoot whenever he's ready to shoot. But I think those are the keys. Wing defense and Bam.
I 100% agree with you, which I feel validated because I do think I look at the Heat with a skewed eye, but I agree 1,000%. I think right off the bat, you are absolutely right. They got to hit threes. The 2 games they dropped in Philly, they were brutal from 3. They led the NBA in three-point percentage this year in the regular season, so that was very uncharacteristic, but it can happen to anybody. And it seems simple, like that seems like an obvious thing. It's like, oh, if you hit shots, you're going to win. But I think with the Heat, that spacing on the floor is so important. And look, is the host of this show a really good three-point shooter for the Heat? Yeah, that's true. So do I think that they're going to need him to come in and hit shots and help that spacing? Yeah, I do. But I think you're absolutely right. I think in order for them to make it to the finals, to get past Boston, and then to win a championship, they've got to have that three-point shooting. Here's a fun fact for you. Of the 4 teams remaining, they are shooting the worst from 3 by a wide margin. The other 3 teams are shooting like 35, 38, somewhere in there. The Heat are at 32% in the playoffs. So you got to think law of averages means some of those shots are going to start going in. And if that's the case, then they're going to be good because everyone knows what they are defensively. You talked about it. Like they got wing defenders. They got guys who can hopefully slow down Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. But they're going to need to score. They're going to need to score. And Jimmy's been awesome, but a lot of that offense comes from threes.
And rebounding. I think Miami, having looked at no numbers, they feel like the best rebounding team in the playoffs right now. Keep that up. And don't think we all saw, Duncan got recalibrated in that last Philly game.
Hey now.
Got some minutes, look good. We will be seeing him. He will be a piece in this.
I do think I think that in order for them to get past Boston, they're going to have to score. They're going to have to score, and so everyone knows what they are defensively. But I think putting a priority on the offensive end could be very important. And again, once I start talking about this, I just put on my Duncan Robinson fan hat. So I'm going to admit that. I'm going to admit that right off the bat.
Shout out to Duncan for allowing me to be here.
Wait, you were Duncan. When you brought this
shout
episode
shouts out to me, Duncan Robinson.
Yes.
For taking time out of my busy practice schedule and attempting to win me a Larry Bird, the first ever Larry Bird trophy. Coming down here doing some internet radio with my guys. Shouts out to me.
Come on now. Shout out to you. Say it with your chest. All right, beautiful. No, I love that. Okay, so I agree with all your points. That's what it takes for the Heat to get it done. So if they do get it done, Jamel, what happens in the NBA world? What happens in the landscape? How do people react to Heat culture finding a way to win a championship?
I think we're looking at 10 years of Heat dominance. We're looking at the Heat stepping into what they've already been. They've already been consistent since Pat Riley came, right?
Yeah.
But with Pop going away, Miami would become the toast of the league. This is what it looks like. This is the gold standard, and this is how it will be. And then, once the free agents start, come on, man, everybody want to go to South Beach, especially after a ring. So it's just gonna be the destination. It's going to be the best place. It's the most stable. Jimmy's happy. It can't be any better. Spoelstra ain't going nowhere. We're looking at 10 years of just whenever the Heat feel like winning one, they're gonna win one. That's what's gonna happen. And that's the honest truth. I'm not even saying that because I'm Duncan Robinson.
Well, I have to remember that you are slightly biased now that you're taking on the alter ego of the character. Yeah. But I hear you. I also, for me, this is the easiest alternate reality to imagine because it means I'm trying to find my way onto the bus at the parade. You know, I'm trying to sneak on there. I've got champagne bottle in hand, sunglasses on. I'm taking in the Miami sun. And I had nothing to do with this championship, but I'm going to act like it's about me.
If the Heat win the title, Davis is going to be popping bottles of Remy at the Carnival cruises. He'll be like, sir, do you have a ticket? And I'm like, do you see my T-shirt? I don't need no ticket.
I'm going to,
you running around, senior frogs. What you about to say, my fault?
I said, no, you're good. I said, what I'll do is I'll put on a Heat polo, you know, and I'll try to pass as like Chris Quinn or like one of the assistant coaches.
Oh, yeah.
You know, see if I can weasel my way on the bus. And then as soon as I'm on, shirt's coming off. I'm going J.R. Smith. And I'm just I'm soaking in the scene.
And if you execute this, like I think you can, you would have NBA Twitter in a frenzy. Who is the shirtless film guy from the Heat team that's going crazy? Just like, you know what you need? Put the polo on and also have like some VHS tapes in your hand. So you could just be like, oh, I'm the film guy.
Yeah.
Long day at the office. Sorry, I had to bring my tapes with me.
We're here doing a documentary. We're just making sure we film the behind the scenes, the parade celebration. Really, it's all just podcast content.
Absolutely.
Because that's the other angle here is talk about best case scenario for the podcast. I mean, the Heat win a championship, and now all of a sudden, you know, there's a lot. The podcast takes off. You know what I mean? We're recording an episode from the bus. We're recording an episode sitting next to the Larry O'Brien Trophy. I mean, the possibilities are endless.
Whew. I mean, come on, man. You're definitely doing a pod with that Larry Bird Trophy if they win if they go to the finals. You're getting some good selfies with that Larry Bird.
So here's my quick tangent. Here's my question for you: who of the 4 remaining teams throws the best championship parade?
Oh, you gotta say Miami. Now
it's gotta be, right?
It's gotta be Miami because Miami already throws the best party. So that's a foregone conclusion. I'm gonna give an honorable mention to Dallas here because Dallas, an underrated party city, just based off what you can accomplish. My girlfriend would call this a dankness per dollar, the DPD. So what you can do in Dallas with $200 is way more expensive than what you can do in Miami with $200.
Yes.
But Miami is the better party. But Dallas, you can come on. You can start swanging. You can come out. You can have a Chevy with the butterfly doors. You might meet Duro. You might the guy who did ice cream paint job might be on the float. You know what I mean? Like, it's a lot of different options. But those are my 2 standards.
Yeah, I could not agree with you more. I actually just moved. So my now wife and I, we lived in Los Angeles for about 3 years, which I think you're in LA, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So we were out in LA for about 3 years. Then we moved to Ann Arbor, Michigan, which both real estate prices are just ridiculous in both places. Now we're in Kansas City. And talk about affordability. The same way that it works in Dallas compared to Miami. Your DPD goes a little bit further in a place like Dallas or a place like Kansas City. Well, just the Midwest in general, I think.
I bet you bought a house and it came with some ribs, didn't it?
We are in the market, but you would be amazed at how many Zillow locations specified that the house comes with ribs.
Need I say more? You know, it's crazy. I've been threatening to move to Kansas City for about 15 years. This feels like a ringing. Yeah, like I was living in D.C. and they were like, Jamel, are you going to New York? You going to L.A.? I'm like, I'm going to Kansas City, bro.
Was it a joke or are you serious?
Well, because I love that sitcom Malcolm and Eddie, starring Malcolm Jamal Warner and Eddie Griffin. It was just set in Kansas City. And also, it's just seemed chill, and I love ribs, and it's in Belly. Remember when Method Man is wearing the glasses and he's pretending to be a dweeb, and the dude's eating the banana, and he's like, "Oh, I'm going to snitch on that guy." Like, that's all in Kansas City. So,
yes.
These are all things
That-
that I enjoyed.
That is hilarious. Well, I'll tell you what. Similar to me talking about the Heat, I'm incredibly biased. But talk about a hidden gem of a city. I think you would enjoy your time here.
Man, I've been dreaming about it.
I think we can bring it to reality. That was beautiful. I think we can move off the Heat. Let's go to the other Eastern Conference team here, the Boston Celtics. So it's not going to happen because they're not going to get past the Heat. But let's say in this alternate reality they do. Don't jump ship, by the way. We know you're a Celtics fan. That you can
I got
support
you.
them.
No, and I'm a Wizards fan. So you have no idea how sick it is to even think to be pro either of these teams.
Yeah, right. I
Both
get
of them.
I get it.
Both of these teams have ruined so many of my summers.
Yeah.
To the point where I can't leave the house. I can't go to the pool.
Yeah.
You guys just crushed us again.
Yeah, I get it. Grief is a serious playoff heartbreak. It's no joke. So let's say in some weird world the Celtics find a way to win a championship. Okay. It would be their 18th. You know, they have a bit of a history in that franchise. It'd be their 18th championship, first since 2008. What do you think it takes for them to get it done? And what's this reality look like in which the Celtics find a way to get the ring?
I don't think you can count on Grant Williams to give you 30 on a nightly basis. I don't think that is realistic, but I think the key is Marcus Smart. I think the key is will his antics work in Boston's favor? Will they not? Will he make his shots? Will the shots he take even make sense?
Yeah.
These are all things, and if he can find a way to just be chill, and like you're gonna need 20 a game from him, and that's what it feels like to realistically pull this off. Because you know what you get. Once again, Tatum's Tatum, he's getting the most shots, and then Jalen's right behind him. But you need 3 real options. It's got to be Marcus. Can he rise to the occasion?
I once again agree with you, which is beautiful. I love being on the same page. This isn't, ESPN First Take. It's okay. It's okay to agree here.
Yeah, come on.
We don't have
friends. You're my boy.
Exactly. We're here to pump each other up. That's the whole point. But I agree with you. I think you said earlier, you know what you're going to get from Tatum. You know what you're going to get from Jaylen Brown. Those guys, I will say, they need to be consistent. I think there were some games in that Milwaukee series where they weren't great. I think there was a game where Tatum had like 10 points.
Terrible game, a full-on stinker.
Yes, and as the playoffs go on, it's harder and harder to get away with games like that. Mm-hmm. So they need to be consistent, but you expect that they probably will be. I mean, those guys are stars. It's clear what they're capable of. But they need to be consistent, and then they need to be – I think they need to be playmakers. They need to be willing to give the ball up because, like you said, Marcus Smart, whether it's Marcus Smart or Grant Williams or Peyton Pritchard or Al Horford, they need role players to step up and help them out because they're going to get theirs. And I think if I'm guessing, it's kind of like the Luka thing, and we'll get to the Mavs, but with these stars, it's like – you take away one thing or like you try to slow down one thing. It's not realistic. You're going to take away everything. So it's like with Tatum and Brown, they're probably going to get theirs. But if those other guys can hit shots, and look, it's not going to be Grant Williams taking 23s every night. But if those other guys can hit shots, then they become really tough. Similar to the Heat, I mean, everyone knows how good they are defensively. Both these teams, I mean, this series might just be a defensive bloodbath, just a slugfest.
I'm fully
so whoever can get role players to step up and hit shots and score and help the offense is most likely going to come out of this series, I think. And so you're right. Whether it's Marcus Smart, he might be the leading candidate. Whether it's Grant Williams, whether it's Al Horford, whether it's, who knows, a big Tice game or a big Robert Williams game, they're going to need some role players to step up, I think.
And I think, and if I'm being honest, I think Miami has the better bench. I think Dedmon is underrated. in this series. I think Dedmon can have some good games, and Al Horford is eternal. Al Horford might be in the league for 100 straight years.
He found the fountain of youth in that Milwaukee series. For sure.
But, I think Dedmon can get the best of him in some matchups for sure. And I think Victor Oladipo is somebody that let's tag him for a good series. He had a good second round. I mean, if he keeps up that, he's averaging about 12 a game or something like that coming off the bench. That's what it feels like. I mean, if you're getting 12 a game from Oladipo and Duncan and Strusser out there stroking, I mean, you got some problems.
No, I agree with you. The Heat depth is just disgusting in the best way. I mean, they've, like you said, you bring Victor Oladipo, all of a sudden he wasn't even in the rotation at the end of the season, really. Now all of a sudden he looks like, circa 2018. Caleb Martin has come in and been awesome. Dwayne Dedmon. I just think, let's not forget the sixth man of the year, Tyler Hero, coming off the bench. Like,
their second five is like a starting basketball team. The Heat's second five.
Yeah, I agree. So, it might be a battle of, because you know what you're going to get from Jimmy, you know what you're going to get from Tatum, you know what you're going to get from Jaylen Brown. You said Bam for the Heat is a key, and I totally agree. And then those role players, who's going to step up? I think that's absolutely important for the Celtics too. So, okay, the role players step up. They find a way to get it done. They win a championship. Yeah. What then happens in the NBA world? What happens in the NBA landscape?
And it also requires Scott Foster being around. I'm not going to get into detail on it, but Scott Foster's going to have to make some decisions. But okay, let's say Boston wins it. Okay, here's what
I won't
happens.
push on this. I won't push on.
Yeah. Obviously, I as Duncan Robinson, I can't.
Sure. Yeah,
can't get too deep on what I just said. But anyway, let's say in this mythical fantasy world, Boston pulls it off. It's Boston, so I think Boston fans are going to become more annoying than ever. They've already been pretty annoying, and now there will be no one to stop them. The cuffs will be off. And, are we going to have to say Brad Stevens is a good GM? Ugh. Man, I don't want to say that.
Right. No, it sounded weird just coming out of your mouth. Yeah.
Yeah, but, and then, okay, how about this? A movie about the team starring Nia Long. As we all know, Nia Long from Fresh Prince and Friday fame, and various other projects. Are we there yet? Are we there now? Mm-hmm. Dating Ime Udoka, and I think they make a movie about the team.
Oh,
she plays her boyfriend in the movie. She's the coach of the Celtics.
Yeah,
it's starring like Brandon T. Jackson as Marcus Smart. We dye his hair green. So I'll figure out the rest of the cast later.
Yeah, right.
It's just gonna be like when the Patriots win, or like it's just gonna be, oh, Boston, Mr. Boston, oh, it's Boston, baby.
That was a great Boston accent.
Thank you. I drank two Sam Adams.
Well, that's all it takes. It's like helium. It's like sucking helium into a balloon. It's just like it's done. Easy. I will say Duncan grew up a Celtics fan, and we talk about that on this podcast. But we also simultaneously trash Boston fans. We've had people come on and talk about how Boston's the least sexy city in the world. We've talked about how annoying their fans are. I went to school in New England, so I was around plenty of Celtics and Patriots fans. So I do think it's unavoidable that in this reality that the Celtics win, that's something you have to deal with.
Ugh. Just some of the least attractive people you ever heard in your life talking about hair they're the best. Get out of here.
You said it, not me. A lot of these listeners are probably Duncan fans that come from New England. So,
hey, listen, you lobster roll eating freaks. No, I'm sorry. Thank you for listening to the show. Actually, thank you.
Look,
please keep listening.
We're incredibly grateful for you. Thank you so much that you're here.
Obviously,
every week.
it means a lot.
Means the
and
world to us.
Them lobster rolls are good, and they are worth $22 when it's done properly. When the butter is proper, you could trick me into paying that $22.
It's an easy thing to mess up, though. That's my issue with it.
I can see that.
You get bad lobster. There's no coming back from that.
Yeah, it's like going to Arby's after hours. You know what I'm
Hey,
saying?
it's not a hill I will die on, but I'll dabble with Arby's every once in a while. I'm not ashamed to admit that. The curly fries, the Jamocha shake. I mean, you can't. Come on now.
You can't go too wrong. I was reading somewhere that they do have the meats.
I don't know if you have to read that. It's every commercial. It's you hear it everywhere. Is that Pusha T? Is Pusha T responsible for this?
I think he made that beat. I think he made the Arby's beat, and then he might have even wrote "We Have the Meats."
I respect it. I do. I respect it. It's,
you had such a moment of like, well, it is a good idea.
Yeah, well, it worked. It's stuck in my head constantly. Yeah, look, I'm with you. Deal with the Boston fans. I do think, speaking of parades, the interesting what if in this reality is I can easily see Marcus Smart taking on the J.R. Smith. We talked about me being shirtless at the parade. I would love to see a green hair, shirtless Marcus Smart just getting after it at a championship parade.
And it would be nice because even he's had his beef with the Boston fans. So it would just be interesting to see how he ended up shirtless. What were the circumstances of his shirtlessness? And I think I have Boston ranked 4th on my parade list, but number one if you're an alcoholic.
Which is totally fair, by the way.
Hey.
Totally fair. Those buses run on Sam Adams, I think. They run on Sam Adams.
That's what I'm saying. I can't think of a better parade to have a 211 at.
1,000%. Everyone talks about the electric revolution in the automotive industry. Boston's pushing the envelope with running on Sam Adams. I do think basketball-wise, they win a championship. Jason Tatum probably ascends his way to is he top 5 in the NBA now all of a sudden?
We would have to talk about it.
I think we'd have to talk about it. I don't love those debates in the first place, but it'd be hard to avoid, especially if he had 46 the other night. If he has a couple more of those and they win a championship, it'd be a conversation that you couldn't avoid. They also, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum could sort of collectively stick their middle finger up to everybody who was we couldn't play together. Okay, now we're champions.
Yeah, and I still could see this team breaking up. I mean, if the money's right, what are you gonna do? How can you
pay
tell
the guys?
How can you tell Jaylen Brown that he can't go be the number 1 option on the team?
True. I think you could. If you're the Celtics, you have championship aspirations every year. I think you go into the tax if you need to, and you keep that thing together. If you win a championship, it's like we're keeping this thing intact. The other alternate reality here is the Bill Simmons podcast. Bill Simmons, if the Celtics win a championship, that podcast, who knows what happens there? It may get out of hand.
They might, just get some cameras on them because who knows? I don't know what's next.
Oh dear. Okay, Eastern Conference done. Heat Celtics. In a weird reality where the Celtics win, I agree. Parade is an interesting topic. Jason Tatum ascends his way. Jaylen Brown says, hey, I'm supposed to be here.
I'm expecting a classic either way.
I hope so. Look, a rematch of the Eastern Conference Finals 2 years ago in the bubble. That series was awesome. I think he won in 6, but it felt closer than that. Bam had the legendary block on Jason Tatum in Game 1. I'm with you. I expect some legendary moments. Moments from this series. It's heating up outside, and when it comes to stylish essentials perfect for the hotter days ahead, there's no better option than Mack Weldon. From hanging out at home to that much-needed vacation, the conference room to the happy hour, they've got you covered. Their innovative daily wear system takes the guesswork out of getting dressed even for the most indecisive guys. which I am one. I've talked a lot about on this podcast how indecisive I am. But with Mack Weldon, it's easy. I just throw on some of their polos, shorts, swimwear. Really perfect for any summer occasion. I will say, this was not planned. I'm actually wearing one of their hoodies right now. It's 80 degrees outside, and I'm wearing a Mack Weldon hoodie. That's how much I love it. And let me tell you, it's got this weird quality where it keeps me warm when it's cold outside, but it actually isn't that hot, or it keeps me kind of cool when it's cool outside. That's how special this stuff is. Their premium polos easily elevate your plans with fabric technology they've built in to keep you comfortable as Their premium polos easily elevate your plans with fabric technology they've built in to keep you comfortable even as the temperature rises. Their lightweight Peak Polo and new super soft Pima t-shirt polo are great for summer. I'll be wearing them everywhere with the Maverick Tech Chino short and Radius Flex short. Two other must-haves for the season, and by the season I mean beach season, which we're all excited about, or pool season, whatever floats your boat, are the board shorts and swim trunks, a combo of performance, stretch, and a slick design. They're great for gear when you're taking time off. So check out Mack Weldon for yourself and save 20% on your first order. Visit mackweldon.com/LS and enter promo code LS. Again, that's mackweldon.com/LS and enter promo code LS for 20% off. Stock up on the warm weather essentials you've been missing. Our next partner has a product that I use literally every day. I've told you guys for a while now I use it literally every day, and I still do. I haven't missed a day in months, and I've never felt better. I started taking Athletic Greens because I really wanted to prioritize my health. I mean, who doesn't? But I wanted to do it in an easy way, a way that didn't make me think too much. You know, I'll be honest, it's a little bit of a lazy take, but that's sort of where I'm at in my life. I wanted something easy that could help me be a healthy person, and there is no better option than Athletic Greens. I'm at the point now where I'm going on a trip. I'm going to be gone for 10 days, and I made it my number one priority in my packing list, like before I listed anything else, was to get 10 Athletic Greens travel packs to put in my bag because I'm not missing a day, especially when I'm on the road, of my Athletic Greens. I have this bad habit of not eating extremely well, not working out a lot when I'm on the road, and it usually leads to declined health. I start getting a little stuffy, which I don't want to do, especially with the podcast. I don't want you guys to have to listen to me when I'm stuffy. With Athletic Greens, it's damn near impossible. I can't remember the last time I didn't feel good. It's because I'm making it a priority to drink this stuff every day. So right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system like I have with convenient daily nutrition. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs, so when you're like me and you're on the road, you can make sure that you're still getting your AG1. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/longshot. Again, that is athleticgreens.com/longshot to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. Okay, let's go to the West. Golden State, if they win a championship, it becomes their 4th in 8 years. 15, 17, 18, and then this year would be 4 in 8 years. Only 2 other teams have done that since the NBA merger, Jamel. The Showtime Lakers and the Michael Jordan Bulls. So we talked about if the Heat win a championship, it's sort of like, hey, here's that dynasty, that decade of, they're in the driver's seat. The Warriors, for some reason, it doesn't feel like that to me. It doesn't feel like they're the Showtime Lakers or the Chicago Bulls, but they join elite company if they find a way to get their 4th in 8 years.
And there's no mistaking that this would be an all-time team. They're already in the Hall of Fame as a team, or they probably should be if they're not, if it's not a first ballot thing. But it's because of the spacing. It's because team consistency has changed from the 80s and 90s. Every year they got different guys. And also a couple of them runs was against some depleted teams. All right. There was one year they didn't face a single starting point guard in the whole playoffs. So it's like it feels a little different.
I don't know. Those teams were dominant.
Oh, and I mean, it's like, I know they didn't face teams at their 100% best, but the way they were playing, I don't think anybody could beat them at their best. I think it's some of the best basketball ever played. Yeah, it's just the circumstances don't exactly smell the same. It's like the difference between mayonnaise and Miracle Whip. This is a Miracle Whip team. And Miracle Whip, hey, sure, it's a viable thing. That's why they sell it. That's why they keep selling it. It gets the job done, but it is not mayonnaise.
Stay away.
It's not.
No, I hear you. So you're talking about this year. You're talking about this year's team.
And this year's team, I mean, I'm talking about the second one, I believe, or the first one. I'm talking about the first one, and then
first one. They beat Cleveland. No Kyrie. Kevin Love. Kevin Love got hurt.
The second and third, they kind of brought in. They brought in the no limit tank. You know what I'm saying? And just rolled it out in front of everybody. It's like when they brought KD on, when you on Instagram and you see those ads for phone games, those like phone game ads. Yes. And it's like a tank, and then the finger hits the button, and then the tank turns into a super tank with a vacuum on it, and the vacuum has missiles, and you're like, all right, well, sure. They mowing over everyone, obviously. Strobe
lights start coming out of it. Yeah. It's just like it becomes supercharged, basically.
They were supercharged, and look, you still got to go out there and win the games.
Sure.
And I obviously, as I know I'm Duncan Robinson, but my friend Jamel Johnson, who is not here, has never played in an NBA game. I don't know nothing about lacing them up like that. Okay, and that's for sure fact. But it just looked a little different.
So I'll say this. If the Warriors, in this reality where the Warriors find a way to win a championship, I think they shut up people like you with that argument, right? Because
for sure,
what you do is you say, look, we're teams we played banged up in 2015, yeah. Did we have a cheat code in 2017 and 2018 when we added Kevin Durant to a team that won 73 games? Yeah. But this year, we got our same core. We got Clay, we got Steph, we got Draymond, we got Andre Iguodala. Don't let me forget him. We got Kevon Looney. Amen. And we found a way to get it done. But I will say, you talked about not beating a team with a starting point guard. They did beat the Nuggets without Jamal Murray in the first round, and then the Grizzlies without John Morant in the second round. So I actually thought you were talking about this year. But
I might have been. But this Mavs team is fully together.
They have a starting point guard.
They have a starting point guard. They have possibly the best basketball player playing right now.
Man.
Some could argue that, at least at offense. Now, I think Tatum and them have an argument. I think Jimmy and them have an argument because they play defense. But if we're talking about the offensive side of the ball, there's nobody better than Luka right now.
Man. No, I agree.
If they stop him. If Draymond stops him, he's the defensive player of the century.
Yes. So, on that note, what does it take for the Warriors to get it done? What's it going to take for them to? Because I agree with you. I think that is absolutely a point. Is Draymond needs to continue to be he was in the running for Defensive Player of the Year before he got hurt. He needs to be that guy. The Mavs have. I saw some stat somewhere. I wish I could give whoever posted this credit, but the Mavericks are leading the playoffs in shot quality or in getting the most good shots. I don't know exactly what the stat was, but they were leading the playoffs in shot quality. And that's largely Luka, the cause of Luka. But you got to think a Draymond Green anchor defense has something for Luka that at least tries to slow him down a little bit or is effective in some way. In order for them to get by, it's going to have to be the case.
They're going to have to bother Luka. They're going to have to bother Luka without kicking him in the nuts. Hey, Draymond, you're going to have to find a way that we're going to see what defensive player, what year you was talking about when you said you was the defensive player of the year. Were you talking about this year? Were you talking about last year? This is it. This is the biggest challenge. And so you got to find a way to bother him. He averaged 35 against the Suns. He was averaging 35. So if you could keep him somewhere in the high 20s realistically, that's a way different looking player. and everything else is set off in a different way. I'm not worried about Spencer Dinwiddie. Listen to my friend Jamel Johnson's podcast for his thoughts on Spencer Dinwiddie. You understand? And like, yeah, in Jordan Poole, we're gonna need to see something from you. But I think it all centers on Steph. Mm-hmm. I think we're gonna have to see a little more shot making from him. This is it's a big moment for the legacy Warriors, as a whole, and it's all on their shoulders.
It feels really good to agree. I think we're 3 for 3 in agreeing. Because I'm with you. I think for the Warriors, like we talked about for the Heat and Celtics, it's role players that got to step up. For the Warriors, I think it's their stars. I think if Steph is Steph, if Clay is Clay, if Clay is Game 6 Clay, if Jordan Poole is hitting shots, they are going. They're nearly impossible to stop. Maybe impossible to stop. So for them, I do think it's their stars. If those guys are what they're capable of being, then they're just too. They're talk about the souped up tank in phone ad games. They become that even without Kevin Durant. They become that if those guys are hitting shots,
imposing their will, because their advantage is experience. And I mean, come on, if Steph and Clay go back to back, they hit 2 threes back to back in Oracle. The building's going to flip over.
Yes.
And then you're dealing with the noise, and you can start to get rattled.
Yeah.
And
I agree.
you know what I mean?
They play basketball. Steph, Clay, Jordan Poole, they play basketball the way that I think I look when I hit a couple shots in open gym. If I hit 2 shots in a row, 3 shots in a row, I think I am, ascending into the heavens, like I'm becoming a basketball god. And I know, if someone were to film it and make me watch it back, I would not look cool. The ball would just find a way to go in. But when they're hitting shots, they look like what I imagine I look like in my, fantasy, in my basketball fantasies.
Yeah, and I mean, I've never even attempted a shot and looked away from it. I don't even know what that...
No, you can close your eyes and imagine. You can imagine what it must... You're not playing any open gym? You're not playing any pickup?
Oh, well, I mean, look, the way I play pickup is very... I'm kind of more of a PJ Tucker type guy out there. I'm not really the volume shooter. Yeah.
You need those guys.
I'm doing a little bit more PJ when I'm out there. Free J Tucker is what they call me.
Hey, those guys, not only are they incredibly valued in the NBA, but I actually would argue their value is even higher in pickup because nobody wants to be that guy. Nobody wants to, be gritty, dive on the floor, get rebounds, set screens, play a little defense. Nobody wants to be that guy. So if you can find a couple of those guys on your team, you're going to be set.
In a game to 11, that dude is the most valuable guy. The guy willing to
1,000%
hit the deck. Falling in a pickup game is a disaster. It's a calamity. Every time I watch an NBA game, they're falling every other possession. If one person falls in a game to 11, win by 2, it's a massacre. We're worried about that guy for weeks.
I am definitely at the point. I played Division III college basketball. I'm at the point now where when I play, the number one rule, it comes out of my mouth before every game, nobody gets hurt. Nobody gets hurt.
We all got to stay upright, man.
It is. I'm strictly here for cardio at this point. I want to sweat. I want to get a couple shots up. It doesn't even really matter if they go in at this point. We're just here for
families,
a good time.
Man. Yeah, I got kids and stuff. I got stuff to do after this. Please.
I'm with you. All right. So for the Warriors, we sort of already touched on it. I think you're right. It could be a legacy year. They win a championship. They ascend into that elite company of dynasties. Steph solidifies his legacy. Not that it's already solidified. I mean, I think no one is going to argue that he's not the greatest shooter ever. But another championship, especially one without Durant, where he's clearly the best player on the team, just cements his legacy even further. And then I also think friend of the podcast, Jordan Poole, just gets all the money. all the money that you can get. They just start handing him duffel bags of money if he's playing a prominent role on a championship team at 22 or whatever he is.
Yeah, Mr. Poole, this is a bag year. We wish you all the best. It's just,
Yes.
and I don't know, the way they play, the stars lead and the role players play out of their body. That's the Warriors. You're looking at your TV and you're like, Kevon Looney did what just now? Are you kidding? Otto Porter's still there? They got okay. Yeah. So
right. And then you got Andrew Wiggins, who sort of like toes the line. I don't mean for this to be disrespectful, but he sort of toes the line between like one of their stars and role player. You know, like he's sort of like straddling the line. But he can, you expect him to be. I saw something that was like when he scored 17 in the last series, they won every game. He scored exactly 17. But that's about what you need from him, right? You need like 15 to 20, play good defense, fly around, be athletic, and then, like you said, let the star players be the star players. The role guys you sort of expect in Golden State to do their role, and that's their recipe. Okay,
Agreed.
last team, Mavericks here. Dallas. They win a championship. It becomes their second in franchise history. They beat the Heat in 2011. That first LeBron team. So this would be their first championship or second championship since that. Jamel, what does it take for the Mavericks to get it done? In this reality, what do they need?
now, I said off tops that making threes is a top priority for every one of the last four teams. But I think it mean the most to the Mavs. It seems like everything they do is predicated on making their threes. They got some capable guys, but I don't know how consistent. Consistency hasn't been their thing. Do I wish ill upon Davis Bertans for making us pay him every dollar we had and not making a shot for months, and now just wandering into the West Finals like Mr. Magoo? Am I taking that personally? I'm not sure. I'm not sure, Davis. You know what? You might be right to question me, but
He's got a great first name. I'll say that.
that's true. That's true. No disrespect.
I'll
is
say
the
this.
Latvian laser.
He's the Latvian laser. There is a saying that Duncan and some of his teammates have thrown around. There's no such thing as overpaid in the NBA. You're worth whatever somebody's willing to pay you.
Amen.
And he is an example of. I've said this in a previous episode. I will die on the Bertans Hill because I think he's an example of why you got to play a shooter. You got to throw him in there, even if it's just for a stretch, and see if he can get hot. Because he had some games where he all of a sudden comes in and momentum just totally shifts because he goes, 4 for 4 in 4 minutes.
At his best, it's unreal. He's like, he was shooting from Steph range, catch and shoot Steph bombs. Everybody else who could shoot from 40 feet has to have the ball in their hand already. He was pulling that thing off the catch, which is unreal to see. Yeah,
at his height, at his size. So you are absolutely right. I agree with you once again. We're now 4 for 4. The Mavericks got to hit threes. They're taking the most in the playoffs. They're taking over 40 a game, I think, which is an absurd amount of threes. But look, it's like you're going to let Luka do his thing. Clearly, teams can't stop Luka from doing his thing. They have arguably the best wing defender last series in Mikal Bridges on him. Doesn't matter. So Luka's going to get his. Luka's going to do what he can do. Like you said, he's probably been the best player in the playoffs so far. Or it's certainly one of them.
On offense. At least on offense.
This
is a Heat podcast. No disrespect to James Butler. All right.
He's absolutely in that conversation too. But yes, offensively, I think you got to say it's been Luka. He's going to do what he does. So if those 3-point shooters are giving him space and hitting shots for him, they become terrifying. So I agree with you. I think in the world, what it takes for the Mavericks to win, those guys got to keep hitting shots.
And their zone got to work. They be running that little funky little zone defense. So, if that's working, then that's working. I mean, the Mavs only have 2 guys who can get in the paint. Brunson and Luka. Everybody else is spacing out, man.
Yep.
And
Yep.
that's it.
It's right. No, it's 100% right. It's a little like 2017-18 Houston Rockets, where it's like a bunch of shooters, small ball, James Harden creating for everybody else. They do a little bit. They got shades of that when it's just Luka in that role, Jalen Brunson in that role, and then you got four guys who can just launch it around them.
And God bless them. I wish y'all the best.
And so then what does it mean? If Dallas wins a championship, what happens in the NBA world?
I mean, I think Shark Tank goes to a whole nother level. I think they're doing live Shark Tanks at halftime of the games. They're bringing in.
Yes, the Mark Cuban.
Yeah, Tim Hardaway Jr. is a guest shark.
Yeah, sure.
Like all types of stuff, dude. It's just going to take Shark Tank to a whole nother level. And also if the Warriors win, I'm getting off Twitter. That's what'll happen. I'm just going to finally lay my Twitter down.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's totally fair. Yeah, if the Mavericks win a championship, I think the statue of Luka goes up immediately outside that arena. Maybe they retire his jersey before he's 25.
I mean, to see a Jordan facility in Slovenia.
Yes. He might. We talked about how I hit a few shots in pickup and I ascend to the heavens. He might just ascend to the heavens. We might find out that he's like a god. He's been a god this whole time. He's come over to bless the basketball world and then he disappears.
His whole town, Slovenia, going to be floating above the earth like in the Marvel movie, like in Age of Ultron, but it's going to be by choice. It ain't going to be because Ultron and them, because it's a bunch of vibranium. It's just going to be because Luka lifted them above the madness.
Yes. Hey, talk about bringing this conversation full circle. Thank you for that. That was beautiful. We're right back on Marvel. No, that's beautiful. That's it. I think we covered everything. 4 alternate realities, all of which are exciting. I will say, I'm obviously biased. I would love for the Heat reality to come to fruition.
And that's very understandable.
All are exciting. I will admit, if Luka can win a championship at this age, what is he, 21, 22, somewhere in there? He just is on this path to be, a basketball god. If the Warriors find a way to get it done, I love the Warriors, admittedly. They're so fun to watch, especially when those guys are.
We would all have to say sorry.
Yeah, that would be fun. That would be interesting. That's an interesting timeline. If the Celtics get it done, that's probably my least favorite alternate reality here.
Salty.
It's a little gross to even think about, but it's fun when young guys are proving to be, solidifying their place in the basketball dynasty world. And so if you got Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown winning a championship together at whatever they are now, mid-20s, it's like, oh, okay, these guys are around for a while. I also think it'd be cool for first-year coach to get it done in Ime Udoka. Like, that I will admit would be fine. It's my least favorite, but it's fine. And then the Heat,
Yeah, come on. That's just, the Heat are just, we're talking about a decade of dominance on the way.
And I'm on the bus, which is, come on. What more
can't say no.
Said? Come on. All right, Jamel, thank you so much. This was a blast. I honestly, I envisioned keeping you for like 30 minutes and I kept you for an hour. So I appreciate you.
That one's on me. As Duncan Robinson, I get so wrapped up in these conversations. It means so much to me.
Right. No, I get it. Well, you gave your all, and for that, I appreciate it. I could go for another hour. This was a blast. I appreciate you very much.
Likewise, brother.